Hello everybody, welcome back to Solving Standard. I'm Corbin Hostler and this is White Blue Eternalize. Now, this deck is really fun and it's pretty good in my opinion. You can grind out decks like nobody's business. Now, we are going to have to fight against a Search for Azcanta, but fortunately, if one Search for Azcanta is good, two is better. Let's do it. Unfortunately, we are a turn behind with this, but maybe we can Ibnu Rivulet ourselves to get ahead. We do have a couple Field of Ruin floating around our deck to try to mitigate opposing Azcantas. Oh gosh, okay. Our opponent's got Champion of Wits. So our opponent, either on some sort of... Oh wow, their hand must be gas, so that's what they're doing. Okay. Irrigated Farmland, huh? I would like to put that in my graveyard. Okay. We will draw another one. These are not the best draws, that's for sure. I guess I'm going to chart a course, just because we need to do something here. And that was pretty good. We're definitely not going to need all these Fumigates. I'm not sure exactly what our opponent's up to. I assume it's some sort of God Pharaoh's Gift deck, but it may also just be... I'm not completely hip on Standard. Sorry, I took a week off and dealt with Modern. But for all I know, this is just a blue-black control deck, and they just play Champion of Wits. It certainly seems like a thing that could be true. All right, I think we go better in the long game if we can dodge Scarab Gods, though, because we have, if we're both going to be working with Azcanta here, we have the ability to have Anointed Procession out and get multiple versions of our stuff when it comes back. But our opponent might be able to go over the top of us, too. Also, they could be playing God Pharaoh's Gift and really go over the top. But I doubt it with these. I bet it's just some sort of blue-black mid-range control deck. Okay, so... with that in mind, what do I want to do here? Probably just play the Champion of Wits. Playing around Censor here. As opposed to, say, Pouncer plus Charter Course or whatever. And no big deal if our opponent were to counter it. Okay, well, there's a Field of Ruin, so that's very important. I'm going to get rid of the Adorned Pouncer. And I suppose the Plains here. So this is good. This sets us up to next turn be able to flip Search. And our opponent, when they do get around to flipping their own Search for Azcanta, will be able to take care of it with this Field of Ruin here. So I think we're probably most worried right now about Scarab God. I also think that I'm not afraid to take this damage here. Especially if we have some Scourge Champion in our deck. We can just gain life back. Alright, our opponent doesn't want to do anything. Works for me. I would like to put this Embalm Creature in my graveyard, and I would like to flip Search for Azcanta. Alright, let's get on in there with Champion of Wits. Alright, this all looks pretty good, I would say. I'm not going to reveal the Field of Ruin until the last minute. I'm going to go ahead and chart a course here, though. And then we can still activate Azcanta in their instep. Pretty good. Pretty good here, I would say. Yeah, playing around Censor. Feels good always. Alright, our opponent still a ways off from flipping their own. We're going to be ahead in Azcanta activations here. Not to mention, they probably only get one use out of theirs. Oh, well that's good. Yuck, that's pretty good against us. Sort of a second thing I want to Field of Ruin. That's actually kind of disastrous for us. That said, I'm going to probably just Eternalize something from my graveyard immediately on our turn. I guess we'll take this. It looks like we're going to get the chance to. Yeah, I see no reason not to just get back the Adorned Pouncer. Well, let's go ahead and attack first. Well, no, let's do it first. That way our opponent can't nuke us. So, yeah, we're sort of giving up a lot of value here. The way we did that, right? We don't have Anointed Procession. We give away information, blah, blah, blah. But our opponent's sitting on Scavenger Grounds. And we do want our graveyard to be a resource and a good one for us. Which means we very much want to get as much use as we can out of our graveyard while we can. It's trivial for us to refill it, but Might get censored here, but that's fine. I just negated. Yeah, if they want to burn a negate on that, that is not a problem at all. All right, yeah, so look at it this way. Our opponent is down to 3 cards in hand. Well, not anymore. 2 cards in hand now. Okay. Consigned to Oblivion. I like it. Okay. So they get to flip their search, and then we get a Field of Ruin it away. And our opponent's just going to be low on cards in general here. Still content to Champion of Wit's race here, I think. Ah, nice. All right, so let's go ahead and take this thing out while we can. All right. We're digging. Do it. Supreme Will, huh? That's a pretty good one. Supreme Will is actually a really nice card. I wish we could play it in our deck. All right, let's go ahead and attack. All right, play. Let's see here. So we can activate. So we have 2 mana after that. So I'm just going to go ahead and play Search for Azcanta number 2. Lets us scry every turn. And this allows us to still activate Azcanta. Did I play a land this turn? I did, correct? All right, I did. I played the Field of Ruin, obviously. Okay. So we don't want to take damage forever from this Champion of Wits, but I'd say, because, you know, an Incept Gearhulkers. And here comes a Scarab God, huh? You know, despite everything, we actually have not found one of our answers for the Scarab God, and we do have quite a few. I say that. We have the Ixalan's Bindings in the main deck here, but let's go ahead and see if we can find one now. Of course, resolving it might be a little more difficult here, especially if we have to show it to our opponent. Yes, and they get the Vizier of Many Faces to copy the Scarab God. It's pretty good. We're going to Fumigate, so it's okay, but... Oh, they just want Champion of Wits. All right. We can Fumigate to slow things down. That's certainly what we have going. We have a lot going for us here, but our opponent has a Scarab God, and that card is... Wow, we just whiffed, huh? Okay. I would like to put a Dorn Pouncer into my graveyard. I would not like to flip this thing. Okay. Couple options. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. We could actually play this and Eternalize this and get 2 tokens, and that is pretty good. You know, this stupid Scarab God is also very good, though. And given that we weren't able to find an answer, I'm going to go ahead and, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to main phase Search for Azcanta here to see if we can dig up an Ixalan's Binding. Which we did. Great. While our opponent is tapped out. Which I would say is probably the most important thing we could have done this turn. So that feels like a good decision. All right. So I believe that... Oh, no. Can't actually cycle that. That takes up everything we can do for the turn. And now we're definitely just in blocking mode. We have everything we need. We have Sunscorched Champion. We have Azcanta. Our opponent does have a nice hand, I assume. They discarded Supreme Will after all. But they can't play Scarab God, which might have been what my opponent just tried to tap for and realized what Ixalan Bindings does. That's pretty good for us. Now we just have to worry about, I would say, Torrential Gearhulks. All right, we will block this one because that was our Vizier of Many Faces copy. All right, so I'm going to, it seems, here comes the Scavenger Grounds, I think. Yeah, I think Scavenger Grounds is going to nuke our graveyard here. Yep. Or nuke all graveyards, I suppose. Oh, whatever, I'll just draw. It's fine. Yeah, so our opponent has 3 cards in hand. One of them is most certainly, it seems, the Scarab God based on the way that played out. So let's just go ahead and play a Sunscorched Champion here. Turns out it actually blocks Champion of Wits very well. Then we have a few options. I'm going to play this land still just because, like I said, I want all the lands we can get, I think. It feels like every turn I'm wishing we had more mana. So, well, a couple options here. 1, 2, 3. So I have 2 mana if I want to activate Esconta this turn, which it turns out I do. So I'm just going to play Chart a Course. I don't mind discarding here. I'll discard this Champion of Wits. All right, this is fine. We have Field of Ruin now to deal with the Scavenger Grounds if we want. Our opponent's going to Supreme Will. Sure. So we can answer our opponent's Scavenger Grounds if we need to. Also, we can save it for another Esconta if that becomes an issue. And now we have to decide if we take the hit or if we just block. If we decide the jig is out, we just let them Eternalize and go from there. And I think what makes this decision a little easier for me is activating Search to know what we're going to be dealing with. Nothing, it turns out. Okay. Well, that's certainly an interesting development. Like I said, we're not the best Search for Esconta deck in the world. I think that I'm going to block. I don't want any weird shenanigans with Torrential Gearhulk. I'm just going to let them draw their cards. They have 2 Scavenger Grounds now. If they want to tap out, we will. We'll see what we can do. We'll just bring back our own. What they can't do is pop this and Eternalize their own. So, yep. I suspect there will be some Scarab Gods dumped into the graveyard here. Nope, okay. Fatal Push and Supreme Will. Would like to put that island into my graveyard. Ixalan's Binding, huh? Probably not worth taking this thing. Can I play Procession and get my own? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Ooh, I can. All right, now we're talking. Yeah, I mean, we allowed our opponent to have a Champion of Wits, but now we're going to see if we can go Anointed Procession and Eternalize our own Champion of Wits. It seems like we're going to. We're going to draw a lot of cards right here. Okay, and that'll do it. The old draw 8, discard 4, get 2 4/4s was enough to beat our opponent in submission. That was a good game. Our deck really needed to pull through there, and it did. So this prevents damage, but not loss of life. So for what it's worth, from the Scarab God. I'm not sure what all we need. The Fumigates seem pretty bad. I guess I'll keep 1 just in case. I'm sure we can cut a creature of some kind here. Probably the Sun Scourge Champion. Seems like the worst. The question is, do I want a Spell Pierce? Do I want another Gideon's Intervention? These were basically just naming, Torrential Gearhulks, maybe Gaunties, but basically Scarab God here. We just want all the answers to Scarab God we can get outside of just Ixalan's Binding. Spell Pierce is not insane here, but what it does have going for it is that Spell Pierce on the draw is actually sort of better because it means we can catch a Search for Esconta on turn 2. And Negate, despite being better probably in the long haul because the game's going to go long, does not answer that on turn 2. Now, that said, this hand is a mulligan. This one is not. This is actually probably pretty solid for what it is. You're going to mulligan. You're going to, in game that's going to go long, you have Spell Pierce and Search for Esconta. I'd say those are pretty good in the matchup, especially if our opponent just slams it here, which they do not, which means I won't be slamming it either. I guess I'll play the Fortress. In some ways, it might be correct to play the farmland there, but I don't know. I mean, maybe that would have been better. I really thought our opponent... Ooh. That's a good card. Didn't think about that one. Alright, well, let's try search. Still scries every turn at least. Okay, well, we'll resolve search for Ascanta. However, this stupid Deadeye tracker is pretty good. Yeah, it's a pretty good card. And we actually just don't have a lot of easy ways to answer it. Alright, let's see what's on top of our deck here. Sun Scourge Champion, huh? But I like to put it into my graveyard. I guess not. And this is where I might kind of get punished here. Well, I mean, maybe not quite, because I can play the Adorned Pouncer instead of the Sun Scourge Champion. Still have a Spell Pierce here. Hey, this card's going to wreck us. Our deck does, it's easy to refill our graveyard, but repeatable hate like that, pretty good against us. I will be Spell Piercing the Glimmer of Genius. Alright, well, our opponent can now start doing their thing with Deadeye Tracker. They have a lot of cards in their hand still. You know, if we get on tap, maybe we're alright here. Let's see how bad would our Hostage Taker, our Pouncer, huh? Okay, I want the Fumigates back. I didn't know what our opponent was boarding into. Like I said, I'm not an expert in Standard, but it would seem that I've made some tactical errors. Well, I mean, I guess the best we can do is basically play this and hold up Negate. You know, this does block an Adorned Pouncer. Our opponent can obviously play our own Adorned Pouncer, but we can just block it, and then it's in our graveyard to Eternalize. We still have up Negate, but our opponent has 4 cards in hand. It's going to be difficult for us also, it turns out, probably to flip this search. Would like to, though. But our opponent's just going to activate Deadeye Tracker. Well, unfortunately, seem to have nothing to do here. Don't want to attack. We're just going to get ground out at this point by the Deadeye Tracker. Fumigate would be pretty good on this board, though, so that's what we've got to keep in mind for Game 3 here. If we, so I don't know what the odds are of us pulling out of this one. We were able to counter most of our opponent's early plays, but between the mulligan and now getting relentlessly beat down by some of this stuff. Northern Procession doesn't actually do much because I don't think we're going to have much use of our graveyard this game. We'll just keep making land drops, holding up Negate, and see what happens, I suppose. The good news is we have the Field of Ruin to answer any Scarab God, Ascanta shenanigans from our opponent. The bad news is that we might eventually just die to this Deadeye Tracker. There is the 1 Fumigate left in our deck. I'm going to give him the Supreme Will, I think. Do they have to reveal it? No? Okay. It's all very bad for us. I mean, I guess at least we're scrying every turn with Search. Good and bad, I suppose. I mean, we're fueling this thing, but, you know, either the Deadeye Tracker gets bigger or we have a bad draw. I'm going to just, you know, give them the Deadeye Tracker. All right, that does not happen, though. Glimmer Genius, much more powerful than Supreme Will. And here comes the Scarab God. But that's fair. I would like to draw Ixalan's Binding, though, that's for sure. Well, we get rid of Scarab God with Ixalan's... Wow, it's weird. I swear there's a Wasteland Strangler picture that popped up there. That's very odd. Okay, I guess we're in the stalemate still. The Deadeye Tracker might kill us eventually, but we get a scry every turn with our search, and we don't have to worry about Scarab God shenanigans anymore. I think I want to draw this. Damage that will be dealt, huh? So what do we think our opponent kills us with? I could name Deadeye Tracker. Unfortunately, it can still. I don't have protection from it. It's not Ruined Halo, which would be better because then this thing couldn't target us, which would be great. Although this thing doesn't actually target, does it? It's from an opponent's graveyard. There's a Torrential Gearhulk, which is going to Supreme Will us. It's going to Glimmer of Genius. Okay. Maybe our opponent just doesn't have enough win conditions. Maybe we get Gideon's Intervention, the Gearhulk. We don't have to worry about Torrential Gearhulk now. I mean, we've answered Scarab God and Torrential Gearhulk. We're probably never flipping our search for Azcanta, but we do get a Scry every turn. There is a Fumigate in our deck. Fumigate would be very good on this board. In the meantime, our opponent has a lot of cards, but maybe they just don't do anything. Although I think what would be more likely here is our opponent honestly might just... yeah, our opponent might just like counter all of our ways to win. I suppose currently they are milling out first. No, I would like to draw Angel of Sanctions. All right, almost no chance this is going to resolve, but you don't win by not casting it. I guess I would reset the Deadeye Tracker. I might also take the Adorned Pouncer. Alright, I will not be paying for that, unfortunately. Alright, well, the stalemate continues. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we've been consigned to Oblivion. Oh, this is real good. Alright, we're about to find out, since we're dead anyways here, if this actually prevents this ability. If I exile this land, does this not have targets and it doesn't work? Okay, it still works. I thought it did, but may as well check, because we're very dead anyways. Enormously dead, as it turns out. Consigned to Oblivion is pretty good, because now our opponent, if they have a land, I don't know if they played one or not, they can make us discard the Sixilon's Binding. Yeah, we just got hosed by this Deadeye Tracker. Duress. Okay, that works too. Well, then. This was very bad for us. I don't think we have many ways to win here. All right. Fumigate was not Fumigate. I guess I could have just... yeah, I should have done that. Although I don't think it matters. I mean, I think we're just dead here. I guess we can probably play for one more draw step to hit Fumigate. Well, one thing I should do is Field of Ruin this thing away while I can. Well, on the one hand, Fumigate isn't always great, but it would be very good here. And our opponent did tap out, which means they definitely aren't expecting it. Oh, geez. All right, that kills us. Okay, well, our opponent is boarding into creatures, so I want the Fumigates back. Yes, please. All right. I mean, I do, honestly, the thing is I like Gideon's Intervention. And this card's good as well. I mean, we got Consigned to Oblivion is actually very good. We might only want 3 Fumigates, though. And I mean, this is still probably good. Cut a Spell Pierce. Probably cut these still, I guess. It's weird because, you know, in some ways we're trying to out-control our control opponent. And that doesn't necessarily work because they're going to go over the top better and they have Consigned to Oblivion and so on. But we can't really go aggro. Like our deck doesn't do that. So we kind of don't have other choices. I don't think I can mulligan a double Champion of Wits hand either. This hand isn't great, and our opponent might... This might be the game where they slam turn 2 Ascanta and just get us, but... Well, or maybe it's a game where we slam turn 2 Ascanta and get them. So good and bad here. I don't get to catch Champion of Wits on time if we don't draw an untapped land here. But it's worth it to get this into play. And it turns out I just get to do it anyways. We might get censored. If we get censored, not the end of the world, it turns out. All right, great. I would like to use this ability. Those are good cards. We definitely want to keep the land. I guess I pitched these two. I would like to preemptively name Consigned to Oblivion with Gideon's Intervention. But I could also... well, okay, never mind. We could also just... Oh, my... Well, that's fine. We have a good hand. Our opponent's welcome to take one of these cards. I assume they take Search for Ascanta. They took Chart, of course. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll get in here for 2. So I either play a 4-mana spell. Our opponent didn't censor our turn 2 play, and they almost certainly would have if they had it. So may as well just go for the Gideon's Intervention here. Okay, I guess that's magic. If their plan was really to not play censor on turn 2 on our search... Or I guess we had it. This turn 3. They didn't censor our Champion of Wits. Yeah, I definitely thought. I mean, either they drew it or they tricked me because they just didn't care about Champion of Wits. But that all seems kind of odd. I don't know. I mean, I know that now we get to search, and we can pay for Supreme One. We can't play around Negate, but. Okay, well, our opponent's definitely done a good job answering our stuff. They are, however, down to 3 cards. And we have this Angel of Sanctions they don't know about. Okay, well, now we don't. Consigned to Oblivion, just MVP here, man. However, this is where our deck, and as it currently stands, our opponent has 4 cards, but this is what our deck wants to do, is to get into this position where you have Anointed Procession and the ability to bring things back. And our opponent doesn't seem to have board wipes, so they need to play, you know, ostensibly a fair game. I would love to hit a land right here so I can bring back the Angel of Sanctions and get the Scarab God. Okay, that works too. I bet our opponent only... I could be wrong. I'm guessing our opponent only has the 1 Consigned to Oblivion in the deck. They might have 2. Ixalan's Binding was nice there too. We had a lot of good draws there, to be honest. I mean, there's Ixalan Binding, there's Gideon's Intervention. And our opponent is main face searching with Supreme Will, so they're feeling a little bit of pressure. Also, Champion of Wits that they did not censor has been punching in there every turn. But also, our opponent needs to commit to the board. But if we draw a land and get to Angel of Sanctions here like this, all right, so there, look at that. Now we knock our opponent to 10. We've answered their search for Ascanta. And sure, they can, you know, probably deal with our Angel in some fashion here. No, they can't. I was going to say they could probably deal with our Angel in some fashion and get back their search for Ascanta, but they put all that work in and we just have a 2-turn clock, so we're clocking it for 5. That Champion of Wits on turn 3 that they chose not to censor because they instead ended up censoring our Gideon's Intervention on 4. I don't know if that worked out for him because that Champion of Wits went the distance there, and that's how you grind those decks out. It turns out Graveyard Hate was key in all 3 games, and our opponent did not have it in Game 3, so there we go. White-Blue Eternalize, grinding it out against Blue-Black Control, just like Garfield intended it or whatever, right? I don't know. Graveyard Value, thanks for watching, everyone.